The oat, Avena sativa, sometimes called the common oat, is a species of cereal grain grown for its seed, which is known by the same name, usually in plural, oats. While oats are suitable for human consumption as oatmeal and rolled oats, one of the most common uses is as livestock feed. Three cultivated types are 7 haploid, 2n equals 14 chromosome, 14 haploid, 2n equals 28 chromosome, and 21 haploid, 2n equals 42 chromosome. Common oats, Avena sativa, spread in 80% total oat area. Avena brevis is short oat grown in South Europe for grain fodder. Avena abyssina is Abyssinian oat grown in North Africa. Red oats is grown around Mediterranean region. Oat is an introduced crop in India. There are references to oat cultivation in Ain-e-Akbari written by Abdul Fazl, the court historian of Mughal King Akbar in 1590. It is generally believed that large-scale oat cultivation started in India during the beginning of 19th century when the British established remount depots for the Indian Army. It was first introduced in the Jammu and Kashmir state by the then King Maharaja Hari Singh 1925 to 1947 in his stud farms. Many people consume it as staple food for its medicinal benefits. The vernacular names are oats in English, Jali Hindi, Vataresi Tamil, Yavalu Telugu, Tuki Godi Kannada, Oat Malayalam, Saya Marathi. Origin: the wild ancestor of Avena sativa is the hexaploid wild oat Avena sterilis. Genetic evidences show that the ancestral form of Avena sterilis grew in ancient Egypt and Israel of Asia Minor area. Domesticated oats appeared relatively later. Oat, like rye, are usually considered a secondary crop. The oat, Avena sativa, was domesticated around 2000 BCE. The oats expanded from Asia Minor to north into Europe as an admixture of cultivated emmer and einkorn wheat. The oats, being more adapted to cold conditions, thrived in the new environment of the northern latitudes, while wheat perished. Oats in mixed populations comprised many types of Avena species. Subsequently, Avena sativa types, due to better adaptation to cooler climates, were favored by natural selection, which resulted in their prominence and becoming the most widely cultivated oat species in northern Europe. Naked, that is hull-less oat, are grown in northern China and Mongolia from ancient times. Geographic distribution: the European countries account for the bulk of oat production. The USSR, later the Russian Federation, followed by Canada, the USA, Germany, Poland, and Australia are the major oat-producing countries. Oat is grown in the world in about 27 million hectares area, and production is about 40 million metric tons. The top 10 oat producing countries are in this list. Name of the country is given and production in million metric ton is given. 1. Russia 5.27 million metric tons, Canada 2.90 metric tons, Poland 1.45, Australia 1.25, Finland 1.04, USA 1.02, United Kingdom 0.82, Sweden 0.66, Spain 0.65 and Germany produces 0.28 million metric tons. In India, Punjab, Haryana, UP and limited areas in Madhya Pradesh, Orissa, Bihar, West Bengal are the oat growing states. Economic importance. The oat is primarily grown for feed and forage, but its food use is now more focused on having its benefits as a health food. Oats match barley in features that are beneficial for good health, sometimes even better in few respects. Oat cereals are constituent of breakfast food in most developed countries. The importance of oat in the biomedical and cosmetic industry is also on the rise. Some of its properties are: oats are rich in carbohydrates and fiber, but also higher in protein and fat than most other grains. They are very high in many vitamins and minerals. Oats are high in the soluble fiber beta-glucan, which has numerous benefits. It helps reduce cholesterol and blood sugar levels, promotes healthy gut bacteria, and increases feelings of fullness. Oats contain many powerful antioxidants, including avenanthramides. These compounds may help reduce blood pressure and provide other benefits. Oats may lower the risk of heart disease by reducing both total and LDL cholesterol levels and protecting LDL cholesterol from oxidation. Due to the soluble fiber beta-glucan, oats may improve insulin sensitivity and help lower blood sugar levels. Some research suggests that oats may help prevent asthma in children when fed to young infants. Studies also indicate that oat bran can help reduce constipation in elderly individuals, significantly reducing the need to use laxatives. Different types of processing are used to produce the various types of oat products, which are generally used to make breakfast cereals, baked goods, and stuffings. Oat groats, unflattened kernels that are good for using as a breakfast cereal or for stuffing. Steel-cut oats. They are produced by running the grain through steel blades that thinly slices them but retain dense and chewy texture. Old-fashioned oats have a flatter shape that is the result of their being steamed and then rolled. Quick cooking oats. Process like old-fashioned oats, except they are finely cut before rolling. Instant oatmeal. This is produced by partially cooking the grains and then rolling them very thin. Often sugar, salt, and other ingredients are added to make the finished product. Oat bran. The outer layer of the grain that resides under the hull. While oat bran is found in the rolled oat, the steel-cut oats, it may also be purchased as a separate product that can be added to recipes or cooked to make a hot cereal for its fiber value. Oat flour. Used in baking, it is oftentimes combined with wheat or other gluten-containing flours when making leavened bread. Soil and climatic requirement. Soil. Wide range of soil with good water holding capacity is more suited for oat cultivation. High nitrogen content in the soil is not desirable. It may lead to lodging. Climate. It grows best in cool and moist climate. Also best adapted to cotton belt. Cool weather is important during grain filling for high yield. Varieties. Indian Grassland and Fodder Research Institute IGFRI and Indian Agricultural University have released many varieties for Indian conditions. The varieties HFO 114 or Haryana Javi 114. This is an early sown variety which provides 2 cuts and have good tillering. Synchronous flowering. The variety is tall and resistant to lodging and diseases and has bold seeds. It produces 50 to 55 metric tons per hectare of green fodder in 2 cuts and 13 metric tons per hectare dry matter and 20 quintals per hectare seed. It is notified for cultivation in the entire country. Algerian. The variety is suitable for irrigated areas. The plant height is 100 to 125 cm, decumbent, 2 to 3 stout clumps, slow growth, leaves are slightly pubescent on sheath and are medium wide, ligule is present and green in color. Panicle are equatorial, 12 to 15 cm long and 10 to 12 cm wide. Rachis is straight, 5 to 7 nodes. Green fodder yield is about 40 to 45 metric tons per hectare. Brunker 10. It is a quick growing type with fine, smooth leaves. The green fodder yield is 45 metric tons per hectare. The plants of the variety are prostrate with profuse tillering and slow early growth. The leaves are fine and narrow. The green fodder yield is 40 to 45 metric tons per hectare in 140 days. It is suitable for growing in Punjab, Haryana, Delhi and Uttar Pradesh. It is resistant to drought and can be raised under rain-fed conditions. Kent. Kent was introduced from USA. The variety has been notified for cultivation in the entire country. It is medium late and erect type with long droopy leaves. Average plant height at 50% flowering is 75 to 80 cm. It is resistant to rust, blight and lodging. It yields about 50 metric tons per hectare of green fodder. Weston 11. This is an exotic introduction and has been recommended for cultivation in Punjab. The variety is semi-erect with a height of 155 cm. The leaves are broad with smooth panicles. The day to flowering is 110 days and maturity is 160 days. The glumes are yellowish and grains are long and amber in color. The green fodder yield is about 50 metric tons per hectare. Palampur 1. It is characterized by medium maturity, profuse tillering and resistant to lodging. The variety has been notified for cultivation in Himachal Pradesh. It produces about 50 metric ton per hectare green fodder. UPO 94. The variety is medium late and erect with a plant height of 75 to 80 cm at 50% flowering stage. It is resistant to rust, blight and lodging. It yields about 40 to 45 metric tons per hectare of green fodder. OS 6. This variety has early vigor, tall, broad leaves of light green color, medium bold seeds, flag leaf remain erect at emergence of panicle, tolerant to diseases. The variety performs well under temperate and subtropical regions, giving 54 metric tons per hectare green fodder in a single cut. OS 7. It is suitable for single cut in temperate and subtropical regions of the country and also suitable for two cuts under irrigated areas of Haryana. The variety has early vigor, tall, broad light green color leaves and medium bold seeds. The green fodder yield is 69 metric tons per hectare and dry fodder is 12.5 metric tons per hectare. OL9. This variety is developed from NP hybrid into Kent. It is also cultivated in northwest and south hills. Green fodder productivity is 40 to 50 metric tons per hectare. Bundelkhand 822, a multi-cut variety for cultivation in central zone of the country. The variety has erect growth habit and glabrous nodes. It takes 95 to 100 days for flowering and matures in 125 to 130 days. The fodder yield is 50 metric tons per hectare green and 12 metric tons hectare dry. UPO 212 for cultivation in the north and central India under multi-cut system. The variety has light green stem with 8 to 10 tillers, thin variable awns. It flowers in 140 to 150 days. The average green fodder yield is 60 metric tons per hectare. OL125. The variety was released for cultivation in northwest and central zone of the country. This is suitable for single cut, multi-cut and yields 58 metric tons per hectare green fodder. Haryana Javi 8 or HJ8. It has fast growth, better regeneration and suitable for two cuts. The flag leaf of the variety remains erect at the time of panicle emergence and panicle is straight and open. The variety provides 65 metric tons per hectare green fodder and is suitable for two cuts. Sabzar or SKO7. This is for cultivation in temperate areas of Kashmir and high altitude regions of Jammu. The variety is profuse tillering, leafy and suitable for dual purpose. It produces 35 to 40 metric ton per hectare of green fodder. Bundelkhand 851. This is a multi-cut variety having fast regeneration and high protein content. It can give up to 4 cuts, takes 110 to 115 days for flowering and 140 to 145 days for seed setting. It has prostrate growth habit but becomes erect after tillering. It gives 47 metric ton per hectare of green and 8 metric ton per hectare of dry fodder. The seed yield is 1.2 metric ton per hectare and crude protein yield is 0.99 metric ton per hectare. Bundelkhand 992 or JHO 992 for cultivation in northeast and northwest zone of the country for single cut system. The variety has medium plant height, flowering in 100 to 105 days with maturity at 140 to 145 days. It has high quality parameters like crude protein 10.7%, in vitro dry matter digestibility, that is IVD-MD 58%. It produces 50 metric tons per hectare green fodder and 10 metric ton per hectare dry fodder. JO1. The variety is suitable for cultivation in central zone of the country. Bundelkhand 2004 or JHO 2004. This is a single cut variety released for northeast and northwest zone of Punjab, Haryana, Tarai region of Uttaranchal and Uttar Pradesh, Rajasthan, Eastern Uttar Pradesh, Jharkhand, West Bengal, Orissa and Assam plains. It has high green fodder of 50 metric tons per hectare, dry matter 10 metric ton per hectare, crude protein 11%, acid detergent fiber 47.9%, neutral detergent fiber 62.45% and IVDMD 57.6%. It is tolerant to root rot, crown rust, leaf blight and powdery mildew. Harita or RO19. This is a multi-cut variety and is suitable for winter season under irrigated condition. The average yield is 50 metric ton per hectare for green forage and 9.5 metric ton per hectare for dry matter. It has high leaf to stem ratio and is resistant to leaf blight disease. Bundelkhand 991, JHO 991. This is for hilly zone under single cut system. It is moderate to highly resistant for grasshoppers and aphids. Seed to seed maturity period is 150 to 155 days, while seed to flowering is 120 to 125 days. It is moderately to highly resistant against leaf blight, moderately resistant to nematodes and grasshoppers. The variety provides 30 metric ton per hectare green fodder and 7 metric ton per hectare dry fodder and has good quality attributes. CP 9.5 to 10%, ADF 47%, NDF 63% and IVDMD 57.4%. Bundelkhand 2001-3 or JHO 2001-3. This is a single cut variety recommended for tropical and subtropical areas of northwest and southern zones of the country. The plants are prostrate but becomes erect later. Fodder quality is better with CP 9.23%, ADF 40.5% and IVDM 60.4%. The variety provides 51 metric tons per hectare of green fodder and 10.4 metric tons per hectare of dry fodder. Cultural practices and yield. Land preparation. 1 deep plowing followed by 2 or 3 harrowing with disc or tines and 2 or 3 planking should be given to prepare a well pulverized seed bed. To protect seedlings from white ants, and we will mix aldrin 5% dust in soil at 25 kg per hectare at the time of last plowing. 40 kg urea per hectare should be added to improve seed germination. Seeds and sowing. Fanning the lightweight seed is mandatory. Otherwise, even if those germinate, results in weak stem and poor yield. About 20 to 30% of seeds are normally rejected. Seed raise recommended is about 100 kg per hectare. Best time for sowing for oat is mid-October to mid-November. 15th October is optimum time for fodder production. Sowing is done by drilling method at 25 to 30 cm distance between 2 rows. The seed rate is 75 to 80 kg per hectare. Time of sowing is October to November. Usually, 1 to 2 hoeing are given as intercultural operations. When grown under irrigation, then 40 kg of nitrogen and 20 kg of phosphorus per hectare is given. Usually, it is grown as rain-fed crop, but if irrigation is available, 2 irrigations are given at 1 month interval from sowing. Spacing. 20 to 23 cm row spacing for fodder and 23 to 25 cm for grain production is optimum. Water management. Oat requires higher water than wheat. 4 to 5 irrigations provide good yields. Generally, irrigation immediately after each cutting is mandatory. Critical stage for irrigation of oat is tillering stage. Weed management. 1. Hand weeding is sufficient. Manuring. For multiple cutting, basal dressing of 40 kg of nitrogen and 40 kg of phosphorus should be done at the time of seeding, and 30 kg of nitrogen should be applied as top dressing each after first and second cutting. 12.5 ton per hectare of farmyard manure is to be applied before last plowing and to be incorporated before sowing. 80:40:0 kgs of NPK per hectare is the recommended dose of fertilizers. 100% P is to be applied as basal dose. Cuttings. For single cut plots, optimum time of harvesting is the 50% bloom stage. For multiple cuttings, the first cutting is taken about 3 months after seeding and subsequent cutting at an interval of 40 days. Cropping system. Many cereals can be grown with the oat, such as sorghum, oat, maize, maize, oat, maize, cowpea oat plus mustard maize plus cowpea, sorghum plus cowpea oat plus lucerne. Harvesting. Farmers seeking the highest yield from their crop time their harvest so that the kernel have reached 35% moisture, or when the greenest kernel are just turning cream color. They then harvest by swathing, cutting the plants at about 10 cm or 4 inches above the ground and putting the swathed plants into windrows with the grain all oriented in the same way. Swathing involves cutting the crop and placing it in rows held together by interlaced straws supported above the ground by the remaining stubble. They leave the windrows to dry in the sun for several days before combining them using a pickup header. Finally, they bale the straw. Oats can also be left standing until completely ripe, then combined with a grain head. This will lead to greater field losses as the grain falls from the head and to harvesting losses as the grain is threshed out by the reel. Without a draper head, there will also be somewhat more wastage of the straw since it will not be properly oriented as it enters the throat of the combine. Overall yield loss is 10 to 15% compared to proper swathing. Historical harvest method involves cutting with the scythe or sickle and threshing under the feet of cattle. Late 19th and early 20th century harvesting was performed using a binder. Oats were gathered into shocks and then collected and run through a stationary threshing machine. The oat crop matures within 120 days after sowing. For fodder purpose, 2 cuttings are taken at 40 days interval. Then oat is left for seed setting. Harvesting for grain is done in early April before plant is dead ripe to avoid shedding of grains. Yield. 50 to 60 metric ton fodder and 200 to 400 kg grain per hectare can be obtained. Maximum grain yield of 3 to 3.5 metric ton per hectare is possible. Summary. The oat, Avena sativa, also called the common oat, is a species of cereal grain grown for its seed called oats. The wild ancestor, Asterales, grew in ancient Egypt and Israel of Asia Minor area. Domesticated oats appeared during around 2000 BCE. Russian Federation, Canada, USA, Germany, Poland and Australia are the major oat producing countries. In India, northern cooler parts like Uttar Pradesh, Kashmir grow oats. The oat is primarily grown for feed and forage, but its food use is now more focused on having its benefits as a health food. Indian Grassland and Fodder Research Institute (IGFRI) has released many varieties suitable for Indian conditions. Oat can grow in wide range of soils with good water holding capacity. Time of sowing is during October-November. The seed rate is 75 to 80 kg per hectare. The oat crop matures within 120 days after sowing. For fodder purpose, 2 cuttings are taken at 40 days interval. Then, oat is left for seed setting. Harvesting for grain is done in early April before plant is dead ripe to avoid shedding of grain. 50 to 60 metric tons fodder and 200 to 400 kg of grain per hectare can be obtained. Maximum grain yield is about 3 to 3.5 metric tons per hectare is possible. Thank you.